فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وخاتم النبيين محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Inshallah, we continue where we left the issue of distinction between issue of preference between whether a person perform the extra umrah or he does the tawaf. And as I mentioned, the statement of Taus, who was one of the students of Ibn Abbas, in fact they said Jalla min Ashab Ibn Abbas, he was one of the most honored among the companions of Ibn Abbas. He said in the famous statement which the scholars have quoted from him, that he ما أدري يؤجرون عليها أم يعذبون, that I don't know whether these people are being rewarded or being punished. And when he was asked that why did you say that فَلِمَ يُعَذِّبُونَ, why would they be punished? On that he said that these people go out 4 miles away from the Baytullah and they come back 4 miles. 8 miles they have wasted. They could have performed 200 tawaf around the Kaaba and rewarded for each one of those. So that's why he said. In addition to that, this is an issue the scholars have discussed at length. What is more preferable, with which action is rewarded, and the person who goes for Hajj should pay attention to and spend his time on is the tawaf, because of several reasons. Number one, they said this is the tawaf in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawaf is the afdalul ibadat, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions tawaf in places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions his house. Tawaf number one, an tahira baytiya lit-ta'ifin wal-aakifin wal-ruk'i sujud, that you Ibrahim and Ismail alayhi salam were taken the covenant that they would purify the house for people for what? For their tawaf, their i'tikaf, their ruku' and sujud. In the ayah of Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَطَحِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ, that to purify the house for the people who do the tawaf, the qa'imeen, those who do the qiyam, and the ruku' and sujud. So the scholars divided all these actions into three categories: ruku', sujud, and qiyam. These can be done anywhere on the earth. It doesn't even have to be a masjid. The i'tikaf has to be in the masjid, and but it can be any masjid. And the tawaf is specific to Al-Masjid Al-Haram. So this is why they said that it is specific to that house, and that opportunity should not be wasted. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always mentioned the tawaf before these actions, so it is afdalul ibadat. The tawaf is the action which is performed in most numbers. So when we know that we perform the sa'i for both Hajj and Umrah, but not otherwise. We know that we perform the wuquf of Arafah and Muzdalifah only once in the time of Hajj. We know that we perform the Rami of Jamarat a specific time only for Hajj. However, the tawaf is performed for the Hajj, for the Umrah, for the entry to arrival to Makkah, for entering into Al-Masjid Al-Haram. It can also be performed without any reason as a nafil tawaf. So this is something that is prescribed more frequent as well. So all these issues indicate, and then in addition to all this, they said that the tawaf is the aim of all the manasik, because there's no Umrah without tawaf, there's no Hajj without tawaf. In fact, wuquf of Arafah is aiming towards the tawaf, and this is why they said the tawaf of the house is after the wuquf of Arafah, not before, because that is the eventual aim of that. So if the aim is available, why leave this and go and waste time in other things? That's why. And then another issue is that there is no Umrah for people of Makkah. This is well known among scholars, and this is in the statement of Ibn Abbas and other people in this matter. There is no Umrah for people resident of Makkah. This is simply because they don't need to go and waste the time for the wasila, whilst the aim is available to them. So that's why they do the tawaf. And the issue is lengthier. There are other issues, but I want to, inshallah, keep it brief. So that's the answer to the issue that a person should concentrate on doing the tawaf and earning the ajr rather than going and wasting time and performing extra umrah. Last thing, this space between the umrah and the hajj for the mutamatti' is that he utilizes in the best manner, and the best manner is to do the as many tawaf as possible. There is another issue of ziyarah. You would see that there are cars and wagons going for the ziyarah. People, all the hajj group, they arrange for the ziyarah. People have the demand, and it is in such that everyone is engulfed into that. Nobody stops and thinks that is this right thing to do? Is this part of the manasik? Is it something that makes us earn the reward? So the answer simply is that it's neither part of the Hajj and Umrah, nor it has any kind of ajr mentioned in the Sharia. So it has no status at all. In addition to that, the important issue comes when people go. For example, they will go and climb the mountain to reach the cave of Hira, and they think that they are doing something great. Not only that, but they will be praised for that. Somebody would say, such a brave person, he has managed to reach the cave. Long queue, you would see people going, curly-whirly way over the mountain, and it's quite dangerous. If a person falls and injures, I'm sure that people must get those kind of mishaps. Then this is really like what Rasulullah ﷺ said for a person who sleeps on the roof of his house without any barrier around it. So the Prophet ﷺ, and this hadith is reported in a variation of matan, that he said, "Man bata ala dhahri baytin laysa lahu hijarun faqad bari'at minhu dhimma." That the one who sleeps on the top of his house and without any stones around him, without any barrier or boundary around, so he falls and he dies. So there is no one has the responsibility of that. In another version, he said, "Fadamu hadar," his blood is waste. So if this person falls and dies, who is climbing the mountain and doing this ziyarah, then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us, that this would be simply a waste, which brings us to the end of the issue of Umrah. And as I said, the pilgrim waits until the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, which is the Yawm al-Tarwiyah, from where the Hajj, the rites of Hajj begin. And this is because it is reported that Rasulullah ﷺ started the rites of Hajj on that day. And because Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Qudu anni manasikakum," take your manasik from me, so we follow him. It is a sunnah to start the ihram from that day. Now, before I describe the actual manasik of the Hajj, it's important to reorientate ourselves with the map of Makkah, which you would see the same which I showed you in the initial part of the previous sessions, just to highlight those places where the Hajj is performed, so that you orientate yourself that in the almost the center of Makkah is the Masjid al-Haram, and towards its east is you would see Mina, and then further on Muzdalifah, and then the farthest is the Arafah. It's the same format I used in the previous series, explaining the manasik of the Hajj, where we can see Al-Masjid al-Haram, Mina with the Masjid al-Qif, location of Masjid al-Qif there, and also the location of Jamarat on the same map. There is a small valley between Mina and Muzdalifah, what is called Wadi Muhassar. This is the place where they said Abraha came and stopped, and his elephants could not go any further. He came with the intention of destroying the Kaaba, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevented him, and his elephants could not move from further, and he was destroyed over there. And this is what is mentioned in Surah Al-Fil. Then Muzdalifah has the Masjid Mash'ar al-Haram, and the strip between Muzdalifah and Mina, as I said, is the Wadi Muhassar. Arafah, which is furthest, you can see the Masjid Namira marked over there, which is right at the beginning of Arafah. Some part of Namira is not in the Wuquf area of the Arafah, so one needs to be careful about that. The mount of Arafah, which is commonly named as Jabal al-Rahma, which the scholars have said that there is no basis for al-Rahma, so assigning to this mountain. This is just one of the mountains out of many in the field of Arafah. And the valley which is adjacent to Arafah is the Urna, and that has a relevant issue, and I'll mention that inshallah, because that doesn't come in the area of wuquf as well. Batn Urna, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the deep part of the belly of the Urna is not place of wuquf, but the wuquf area is well marked. So Yawm al-Tarwiyah, this is the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah, where the Hajj begins. Yawm al-Tarwiyah is called Yawm al-Tarwiyah. The scholars, they said that the Tarwiyah is from Roya. Roya meaning the dream. Ibrahim alayhi salam saw the dream of slaughtering his son. He saw it twice, and the first time he was wondering whether this is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or it is just a dream. Then the next night came and he again saw the dream. Then on the following day, which is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, Yawm Arafah, then he said Arafto. So they said this is the Yawm Arafah, because Arafah means to know. So first day this was a dream, second day he realized this is an order, so and he came to know. This is why Yawm Tarwiyah, Yawm Arafah, those names are given. Yawm Tarwiyah, Jabir radiallahu anhu said that when the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah came, then the Muslims they turned towards Mina and they called out, they started their talbiyah, and the Prophet ﷺ went out towards Mina. Going to Mina, staying there, praying 5 prayers is a sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ. It's not wajib. If a person gets delayed or is not able to go for some reason or reaches late, no problem with that. That's not from the obligation. But in all these matters, we have to keep in mind that to act on the sunnah and to achieve that is something that we are eager and keen to work towards. If we say this is a sunnah, it does not mean that you don't need to do that. Rather, you still need to do that. However, if you miss out for some reason, then nothing to blame about. In Mina, you shorten the salah, but you do not combine the salah. And of course, this is the place for remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you are again in the state of ihram, and of course I didn't mention that before the ihram you do everything that we have mentioned before the ihram of the umrah. So observing all those manners and sunan and those restrictions and prohibitions all apply again now. Again, this is more, you can more act on the sunnah more, that when you board on the coach, then you start the talbiyah. You are not on the plane and you are not flying. So from your hotel you will board on the coach. So you do as the Prophet ﷺ did. So you spend a day and a night and you pray 5 prayers: Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and the Fajr of the next day, and the dhikr and dua and the the talbiyah. as much as one can, rather than spending more time in eating, drinking, gossiping. So those things should be avoided. Rather, one should remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gave him the opportunity to come and do this act of worship. Okay, next morning, then this is the day of Tarwiyah. The sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to wait until the sun rises. When the sun rose, then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam left Mina for Arafah, which of course this is the day of forgiveness, and this is the day witnessed by the angels, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows pride on this day. So the sunnah is to leave Mina and reach Arafah just before Dhuhr time. But if a person gets delayed, there's no problem. As long as you are there, and you are there at the time when the zawal occurs. As soon the sun declines from the midline, that is the time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave a khutbah. He went and stayed in Masjid Namira and gave a khutbah, and then he prayed Dhuhr and Asr both, making short, so 2 rak'ah each, and combining them together. This applies to the people who are in Masjid Namira and also to people who are otherwise, because it is unwise to think that everyone will be accommodated, and the rules are for everyone. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu prayed in his own place, shortening and combining, despite that he was not in the masjid, and he missed the salah with the imam of the Hajj, whoever was the imam of the caravan. So he missed the salah and he prayed on his own, combining and shortening. So wuquf of Arafah takes place after, as I said, that the khutbah and the Salat Dhuhr and Asr, shortening and combining. There are certain rules concerning the wuquf. Number one is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood in the field of Arafah facing the Mount Arafah, and some people thought that this is because you have to face the mountain, and this is a serious mistake, because what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was facing was the Qibla, because the Qibla was in that direction, nothing to do with the mountain. He raised his hand and he made dua, beseeching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stating his greatness, and that's all the wuquf is about. As I said in the beginning, the wuquf is from waqafa, which means to stop and to stand, both the meaning. So here is in the meaning of stopping and praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, and he continued to do that until it was until the sun set. There Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that I, as I mentioned before, waqaftu hahuna wa arafa kullaha mawqif, that I, although I stand here, but the Arafah is place of standing, place of staying and praying. So this is why there is no problem where a person is. What is more important is that a person keeps himself unoccupied with other nonsense, rather he make himself busy in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another thing that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said was that the Arafah is all mawqif, but he said warfa'u an batni urna, move away from the belly of Urna, as I said, the valley which is next to Arafah, the deep part of it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that they move away from that, because that is not a place of wuquf. Aisha radiallahu anha, or in fact this is reported from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that the dua of the day of Arafah, in fact the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this is the dua before me of other Anbiya, and my dua on this day is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, yuhyi wa yumit wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So a person should say this as much as he is able to, along with all the other supplications he wants to make. There's no restriction on that, but these words should be said as much as possible. The wuquf of Arafah, of course, as we have mentioned before, is the pillar of one of the arkan of the Hajj, and without the wuquf, there is no Hajj. The Hajj is invalid. The time of this wuquf is the stronger of the three opinions of the scholars is the time of wuquf is from the time of sunrise till the next day, time of Fajr. So, Yawmun Nahar, when the dawn appears, then the time of wuquf finishes. Okay. As we say that the wuquf should continue until the sun sets, and the preferred time is then you leave, because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left the field of Arafah when the sun sets. And the scholars, they said this is a way of in the manasik that you combine the day and night. So in the wuquf, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam combined the day and night. When he left, he advised people that they should be, he said, alaykum bis sakina wal waqar, that on you is peace, being peaceful and being dignified, because this is a common problem which you would see, that the people, when they would move, they would be rushing, and everybody would be rushing to get onto the coach and start off and leave Arafah. Rather, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ya ayyuhan nasu alaykum bis sakina wal waqar, fa innal birra laysa fi ida'il ibl, that he said there is no righteousness in pushing and harming the camels, rather be peaceful and dignified. Ida'il ibl, meaning that beating them or pushing them to go faster, so that should be avoided. Despite that the sun has set, you don't pray Salatul Maghrib in Arafah, rather you go to Muzdalifah and then you combine Salatul Maghrib and Isha over there. You pray Maghrib 3 rak'ah, of course, but the Isha is shortened from 4 to 2, and you combine them, pray together. It doesn't matter when you reach. If you have the fear that you will reach beyond mid of the half of the night, then you can pray wherever you can even pray in Arafah if you wish. Something that sometimes people don't understand and they argue about. So it is important that if the Imam decides that, or the leader of the group decides that we should pray in Arafah, then the other people with them, they should follow and do as maintain the unity among themselves. All you do when you reach Muzdalifah is that you spend the night. And this is known that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not do Qiyamul Layl, or he didn't get up in the night to pray Tahajjud. Rather, he slept, because sleeping is required. The next day is the busiest day of the Hajj. So it is important that a person takes rest. And this is why the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam slept that night, and the next morning came, then he prayed Fajr and did the wuquf of Muzdalifah, which I will discuss inshallah in the next session. As we are okay, the wuquf of Muzdalifah is something which is often overlooked, and this is why it's important that we pay attention to it. But inshallah, I'll discuss this in the next session. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.